Obviously, this has been a troubling journey at times, no doubt. Has this changed the way you look at life?
Absolutely. That's probably one of the biggest favors it's done for us, if it can be a favor, because perspective has changed about everything. And you realize that every moment is a gift, and that in a split second, it could all be different. And to know that you've been spared of something, great pain, we could have, our injuries, you know, even though we're still dealing with our injuries, absolutely they could have been so much worse. So it gives you like this every day, and I'm not lying when I say this. I thank God every day my children were kept, and that my husband was kept. And it just makes you want to make the most of every moment. You know, you kind of appreciate each other more, and that's a gift.
Is it hard for you at this point to get back on a bus? One thing that I brought up the other day, you know, I heard where Jeff and Sherry were involved in a bus accident. Obviously not their fault. Your deal, not your fault. Karen Peck and New River were involved with one fatality. The other gentleman was at fault. There have been bus fires. So I think those of us who don't get onto a bus every week, we kind of just take for granted that you're gonna get on the bus and you're gonna show up and you're gonna sing. But that's pretty dangerous.
It's you know, as a singer, and I've done this for 30 years, been on the road, so it's kind of a safe haven for you. It's a second home. You never look at it as a unsafe place, or I don't remember the wreck, so it's not as bad for me to get on the bus now. I mean, it's still, you think every time he hits the brakes, you're thinking, okay. But for Kelly and for Tara and the kids, it's more traumatic. You know, it's they remember everything, and so they're a little more apprehensive than me. But
it's been a little bit of a struggle.
It's a hurdle that we really had to face back in September of 2010 when we made our first bus ride back to the National Quartet Convention, just to thank the people for their prayers and their support. And it was just a one trip down there to Louisville and back, and that was probably the hardest.
It was very emotional.
Yeah.
Very, very emotional. And actually the kids have bounced back pretty well. They're so strong and resilient.
It's amazing how resilient they are.
They really are. Tara and I both have had, you know, we remember a lot of it. And when you can remember the pictures and in your mind, it's been tough. But, you know, we just have to trust God.
Sure.
You know?
Would you say that you guys are back to a normal touring schedule at this point, or is it still kind of light?
It's still lighter than it always was before. We're still not, I mean, 2 days a week, maybe 3 at the most. It's just, we didn't want to go back in and take any risk of making ourselves have a setback physically. So Mike still gets headaches when he sings a lot because of his injury. And, you know, the traveling's just a kind of a new ball game now since the injuries. But we're thankful to be able to do 3 days a week. I mean, that's huge. It's only been a year, and that's
we came from a point we didn't even know that, you know, that we'd ever get back out there. And I'll be honest with you, there was times that laying there that we, you know, myself, I'll speak probably for Kelly too, is, you know, I don't think we can do this again. I don't think I can put my kids. And I can even look at my little girl, Caitlin. She's 7 years old. She's got a scar from like the top of her brow to her sideburn area to her ear. And she has a scar. It's looking better. But every time I look at it, I'm like, you know, the devil likes to come to me. And you did that to her, you know.
Wow.
And that works on me. But you know, God's got a plan, and she's fine with her little scar. I took her to the plastic surgery here in Nashville, and he said, you know, it's going to be fine. You're freaking out too early. You know, it's going to fade. And she's like, Daddy, I don't want to go. I like my scar. You know, so God's working it all out, and that's just one of the hurdles I've had to face is you know, putting them back on the bus. And
there were months after the wreck that I couldn't even stand to look at a bus, just to be real honest with you.
Yeah.
And that is very weird because the bus has always been such a safe haven. I would just rather be on the bus than at home, hear that generator running, and you know, that just it has been home for so long. So God has really had to help us through that, and you know what, He has. He really has, and
that's awesome.
We're thankful for that.
Well, we got to take a little break. We'll come back and talk more with the Bowling family in the next few minutes, right here on Solid Gospel.